Greetings to each and every one. Welcome to another episode, another chapter of the Reggae Planet Radio Showcase. Another Reggae Planet Spotlight. This is the voice of the Reggae Planet Ambassador worldwide, yours truly, Rasta Ruben Kwabena, host of the Reggae Planet Radio Showcase. And right about now, we're going to continue the topic known as the Politics of Capitalism. Inside today's edition, we'll be looking at capitalism, pretty face and ugly face. That's the name of today's Reggae Planet Spotlight. Capitalism, pretty face and ugly face. Yes, indeed. And I want the youths of the world to know, I want the youths of today to know that it does not make any sense to fight against your brothers and sisters over political warfare, because it's not really politics that actually drive the future anymore. It's really businesses. So while you're fighting about this political party or that political party, that does not make that much differences. It's okay to support the political party that you feel have your best interests at heart, but you got to be careful, because within politics, in terms of which system you're in, if you're in a system of democracy, then you're going to do certain things a certain way regardless of who is in the chair of the president or the chair of the prime minister. If you're in the world of communism, they're going to do certain things a certain way according to their political system. But overall, never mind which political system is at play, the main political system that is driving the world is the politics of capitalism. Yes, indeed. So you got to understand what's going on. Which is to say that in this world of capitalism, politics actually plays a secondary role. The government plays a secondary role. You see? The businessmen or the business or the market and the economy, as they would say, is the bigger thing. So it don't make sense you're fighting about politics, this political party, that political party. You're being belligerent towards your brothers and sisters about the politics. That does not really make sense. What you should do is focus and be serious and be creative and come up with a great business idea that could transcend national borders, could transcend generations, and do a lot of good and great things for the people nationally and internationally. See? Yes. Take for example a business like Google, Facebook, Instagram, all the great social medias, YouTube itself, and the big international fast food restaurants, even the credit cards, MasterCard and all these things, right? If you look at all these businesses, the cell phone too, the smartphone as they would call it, you look at these businesses, they're bigger than a country. The amount of customers that they have, or the amount of users, or the amount of subscribers they have, is bigger than the national population of many countries. They call them multinationals, corporations. So these multinational corporations, they're bigger than governments. And the good thing in multinational corporation or in most businesses, they don't vote to change a president every 4 years either. They don't keep changing the president every 4 years. They have some changes still, you see? And they have board of directors, and sometimes they even have what they call hostile takeover. One big company take over another one. But it depends on how you structure your business. In most cases, the founder of a company is like the real president, even if he puts in another chief executive officer or whatever, these different business titles. Those are all managerial positions. But the actual founder is usually the powerful leader. And if he knows what he's doing, he will benefit greatly from the idea that he has founded and the business concept that he has developed. So you should try your very best to think of something that you could do Whether it's in food, agriculture, whether it's in housing and clothing, whether it's in medicine, anything, any area that you see that maybe there is a problem and it's not being attended to properly, maybe that could be your opportunity to create a profound and a very magnificent business that addresses those issues and solve those problems. Take, for example, an issue such as electricity or energy. Maybe you could be in the solar energy market. Maybe you could provide solar energy to the people of your community. Yes, you could. You don't have to sit around and keep complaining about the government and the electricity and whether or not they have the proper electricity and how expensive it is or whatever. You could do something about it by creating a magnificent business. So that is just to say to you that this is the reason why we're doing this Reggae Planet series or this Reggae Planet Spotlight known as the Politics of Capitalism. To wake up my people to the reality that it's not really just the government that control the world as we would know it. You know what I mean? Inside capitalism, control is really more in the hands of the businessmen. And maybe we would like the government to step up and do some things to put these businesses in check, you know, so that they don't charge people too much money and all these things. We would love that, and that would be nice, but it's not necessarily how the politics of capitalism work. Capitalism, the pure capitalism, is actually a situation where the businessmen run the show and the government is secondary to the businessmen. Even the world of real estate, buildings and construction, and the world of workers' rights and workers' unions. Just look into the history of it, look into the knowledge of it, look into the reality of it. When you take a good look in history, in the world of building and construction, you will see a lot of things. So just look into it and you will get a revelation. There was a time when builders were poor. Even today, in many cases, builders are poor. They make the most magnificent buildings, and yet is some other people benefit the builder, maybe just get the cheapest pay, and the guy who is the big guy, you know, he gets his name on the building and he looks so fancy, but he's not the actual builder. He may have just had a basic idea of what he wants. They have to call in the architectures and the designers, and then you have those men who actually build the building, the construction workers. They should get the real good pay too. Why not? You know, because that building is going to be useful for years for many people. So if you look into the history of building and construction, it has a lot to do with the reality that back in the days, builders were oppressed, they were enslaved, and they had to build the buildings working hard like slaves in forced labor conditions. And they didn't really benefit from the fact that they were building the palace, they were building the church, they were building the house of the king, you get me, and the house of the queen. They were building the city and all the facilities, yet they were being treated belligerent and treated in a state of abject poverty because they were forced to do these things and maybe eat the cheapest bread and drink the, maybe not even wine but vinegar, who knows, right? Sometimes they were treated really bad, builders, right? So they had to come up now with a system or a society where they banded together and created a system of unity among themselves. And they look at it and say, you know what? We should control things because we can build the buildings. We got the knowledge. So it has something to do with that. I don't know everything about it, but I'm just saying, take a historic look at the world of building and construction and you will notice something. It's some kind of vibe where they decided to band it together and create some kind of, like a union really, what we would call a union today, but maybe back in those days they didn't call it a union. And they create certain things around that to ensure that you can't just oppress them. And then they start to control because they realize if we build the buildings, everybody need a building. The king need a building too. The preacher need a building. So you have to look at business from that point of view. Try and develop business that anyone and everyone can benefit from. So you don't need to be fighting this political party against that political party. So, you know, this is the politics of capitalism. And today we're talking about capitalism, pretty face and ugly face, right? And we're going to go into it a little bit more. So we want all our viewers and subscribers, you know what I mean? Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends about the Reggae Planet Radio Showcase. Also tell your friends about this particular Reggae Planet Spotlight series known as the Politics of Capitalism. You know what I mean? Because we want to show you that there is a pretty face to capitalism and there's an ugly face to capitalism. There's a saying, a great saying that goes by, the rich man's heaven is the poor man's hell. So a lot of time in capitalism, it's actually the rich man's heaven. He's having a lot of fun. He's having a great time in his life. But the fact is, the people who are doing the work for him are sometimes suffering in abject poverty, because the whole issue of capitalism is to make as much money as possible. So what happens is sometimes they buy minerals, they don't pay the people the right money for the mineral, you know, or they have the people working, they don't pay them the right amount for the job that they should really pay. They just give them a little bit, and then them at the top now make the biggest money. So the rich man heaven is the poor man's hell. Or sometimes what they do is they take the resources and they don't develop that country where the resources is coming from. They just give them a little cheap pay, but enough for them to feel like we gave you something nice. But then they take that mineral and they go somewhere else and sell it really expensive and do all kind of things with it. You see? So there's pretty face to capitalism and ugly face to capitalism. So this is part 1 of Reggae Planet Spotlight, known as Capitalism, the Politics of Capitalism, Pretty Face and Ugly Face. See? And stay tuned, and we're going to do part 2. See? Politics of Capitalism, Pretty Face and Ugly Face. Yes, indeed. To let you see what's going on in the world today, and to kind of give the youth them now an inspiration to don't bother fight your brother over politics. Respect each other's political view and try and become entrepreneurs. You see? But do it in the best way you can, because you don't have to be an ugly face businessman that oppress your people. You could be the pretty face and make it pretty for even the workers too. So all my fans and viewers and subscribers, please like, comment and share and subscribe to Reggae Planet Radio Showcase right here on Reggae Planet Spotlight. Thank you for tuning in to the Reggae Planet Radio Showcase. Thank you very much.